Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another bullet journal video. I know last month I didn't upload a bullet journal video for June. To be honest, I just needed a break. I was feeling a bit stale with my bullet journal and filming me setting it up wasn't helping. So I just took some time out in June to not film and just set up my bullet journal by myself without the pressure of filming. If you're interested to know what I did, here are some photos of my bullet journal set up for June. The theme I did was like a monoline theme, so all of the doodles were doodles done with one line, and then I went in with brush pens and coloured in the colour, obviously. So that's what I did for June, but I think the break was really good for me and I was so ready to share what I did for July with you guys. So if you're up for that, take a seat, grab a cup of tea or your beverage of choice and let's get into it. Okay, we are back. We are ready to do some planning. So here is my bullet journal setup for July. And the theme that I've chosen for this month is a pastel colour abstract circle theme. This theme was inspired by a channel called Plant-Based Bride here on YouTube. So I will link the video that inspired my take on it in the description below. Plant-Based Bride's video is a lot more hashtag aesthetic and also way more artistic than mine, but hey ho, we can't all be amazing artists. And the show of the week, kind of in keeping with the circle theme, but not really, is Songs for a New World. Songs for a New World is a song cycle. Cycles are kind of like circles. So that's the connection. Link in the description if you want to check out the cast recording for it. So starting off with my calendar layout and also my monthly task list and thoughts of the month. As you can see, I'm starting off colouring in the circles, which I pre-drew in pencil in the highlighter colours that I'm using. This is just so I can draw the fine liner pen on top and so the lines don't smudge, which kind of ruins the whole effect if they smudge. So that's the reason I did the circles first, and then I'm going to go back in with my fine liner. These pens are just cheapy Wilko highlighter pens. They weren't the best. The purple pen was really dry and the nibs were already fraying, and this was the first time I used these pens apart from the swatches. But the good thing about going with cheapy pens, especially when it's a new type of pen you've not tried before or colours that you haven't tried before, is that if you don't like it, you haven't wasted a whole load of money. I've never used pastel highlighters. I don't know how much use I'll get out of them. And if I really like using pastels a lot in my bullet journal, when the ink runs out, I'll buy a better brand. But if I'm kind of like, yeah, it was fun to try, but not for me, I've only wasted £1 on 4 pens. That's just 25p each. So yeah, we like making good financial choices on this channel. So with my calendar layout, I still think I just need the one page. Things are opening back up, but the theatre where I was working pre-pandemic, where I'm still employed, they've been really good in keeping us on. It won't reopen until November to the public, which means I won't be going back to work properly until maybe mid-October. So until then, I don't think I need more than one page for the minute. Next, we're onto my brain dump page, ideas page. Again, very simple, just a title at the top, and then I've added 2 parts of circles in each corner. Just very, very simple. Brain dump pages are a bit weird in that sometimes I use them a lot and sometimes I don't really use them at all, but I just like having it there as somewhere to dump my brain, as the name suggests. Next, we're onto my habit and mood trackers, and as you may have noticed in the photos I showed you of last month's spread, I've changed the layout of this. The layout I had before was just getting really stale for me, I think just because of the basic layout of the calendars on the top and then the 2 horizontal trackers at the bottom. Having the horizontal trackers split between the bottom of the page and the side of the page. A just gives a more visually interesting layout for me. B gives more space for calendar trackers, and C gives more space to add interesting doodles. So as you can see in the side space here, I'm just doing a chain of different circles in all the different colors and with different patterns of overlapping, which was just really, really fun to do. With my calendars, because I have more space, I've been able to split up my reading and writing trackers, so they're two separate things to track, which I think is very, very useful for me. And I've also been able to add an extra tracker, which is tracking how many times I go outside and get fresh air in a month. Especially because of this pandemic, and also because of where I live, there isn't a ton of green space and nice places to just go. I can find I can go for days or even over a week not going outside. Not as much now because I have started doing Couch to 5K, but that's not healthy, staying inside, not just for your mental health, but also just the amount of particles that accumulate in our houses because there's no fresh air to kind of aerate the rooms. Even with the windows open, it's not ideal. So getting outside is important, and having that tracker has just made me a bit more mindful about how much I am going outside and making sure that I try to get out, even if it's just walking to the shops or walking around the block. I don't know why I said walking around the block, that's very American. But there's no other way to describe it, really. I don't think us Brits have a word for walking around the block, but we don't really have blocks because we don't have grid streets, really. I don't know. All the Americanisms coming over the Atlantic for us. In terms of how I've been kind of since my last bullet journal video, because I kind of like using these videos to kind of check in with you guys, things have been fine. I've been really lucky that I've been getting quite a few auditions. My agent is clearly working really hard for me, which is great. I have a project coming up in the summer with a writer that I've worked with quite a few times, so I'm really looking forward to that. I might be doing a workshop in September. I've been availability checked for it, which is when they find out if you're available, and just waiting to hear back to see if they're auditioning for that or if it's just a yeah, cool, because again, it's people I've worked with before. And yeah, things are good. I've got my first vaccine, which is also great. I can't wait until I'm fully vaccinated. I think I'll just be so much more confident with the idea of going out and about and seeing people. So yeah, just on that vaccine train. The next spread I'm doing is a new spread. Now, I've only heard this word in an American/Canadian accent, and that's Kanban, but it's spelt with A's, so in my accent, I would pronounce it Kanban, but it's also a Japanese word, and I don't know how you pronounce it in Japanese, but basically this is like a Kanban board, and it's a project management tool. Again, this was something that was mentioned in Plant-Based Bride's video. Again, it's linked below if you want to check that out. But basically, it's a way where you can take multiple projects and you can track them through the different stages of development that they're in. So, as you may know if you're a watcher of this channel, I've had some recent tech doom. It's the reason that I haven't really posted a proper video in the last 2 weeks while I've been sorting that out. And in order to A, mitigate against that happening again, and B, to find a way that I can sustainably continue posting every week, even as I start getting busier, I'm in the process of pre-filming some videos that aren't time sensitive, that don't have a particular time that they need to be uploaded, so that it gives me more wriggle room when I'm filming weekly to have more time to edit and upload and things like that, so I'm not as time pressured if things come up. So I thought, because I'm planning on pre-filming all these videos, it would be a useful tool, having a Kanban board to track those, because I'll be working on multiple videos at once. and B, a good way to experiment with this tool and see if it would be useful for me. Because when I learnt about this, I just thought in general, because I have lots of different projects and tasks that I do want to do, it might be a useful way of keeping track of all of those at the same time. So this is an experimental spread that also hopefully will be useful for the pre-filming of videos that I'm in the process of doing. And as you can see, some of them are already started. So the way I'm going to use this is when a line is in a section of the process, that means that that video is in that process. And when I put across, that means that process has finished. So I can hopefully track when a video is at a specific stage and when that specific stage is done. Next is my blog planning spread. Again, this is quite an old spread at the moment, but I find it so useful. I think the reason I find it useful is because when I'm pitching and writing articles for other publications, I find it very easy to detach myself from that, because it's all about, okay, what would the readers of this publication find useful? And, you know, what has this publication done before? Is there a gap for this? Have they covered this topic? Whereas when it's a blog on my website, which is linked below if you want to check it out, I'm in that, you know, I can't detach myself because it's my own blog. And yeah, obviously I think about the readers, but I can get really in my head about what I should write. So just having this planning spread kind of helps me detach a little bit by breaking it down into its constituent parts of being like, these are the points that I want to hit this month in this blog. This is the topic that I want to talk about. So I kind of have a methodology to follow. And finally, we are on to my weekly tasks list and my positives log and gratitudes log. As you can see, just along the side, we've got some more colourful circles. Love the colourful circles. This spread, again, basically the same as it has been for the past however many months. Just really, really useful spread. We love it. The one change is the box in the bottom left-hand corner of my weekly task list. That little box underneath the weekly task list box has been so many different things. It has been a social media tracker, which was never used. It has been a focus of the week, which was never used. It has been an affirmation of the week, which was never used. I've just really struggled to find something useful to do with that space. I think it's partly because a lot of my ideas were more self-help or well-being orientated. And I think just because that whole page is very practical and like tasks, this is what's happening this week, this is what I want to get done, it just didn't work with my brain. My brain would just forget that that was there because it's not in the same vein. But I think I found a use for it that will actually work for me, and that is a box for weekly events. So any events that are happening within that week can go in that box instead of on the specific day, especially as things start to open up, things start to get busier. I think it will just give me scope to have more space to write everything down in that kind of interim period between only needing one page and not quite needing a 2-page weekly layout. I think 2 pages is still too much space, but if I, for example, had in one day 3 tasks that I needed to get done, whatever they may be, like writing some emails, practicing a new song, and going to the shops, I don't know. But then I also had an audition and had a doctor's appointment and had a call with someone about something. I wouldn't have enough space in the box to write all of those down. With the events being in a separate box, it would mean that I have space to write down everything that I need to. So I think that's going to work really, really well for me. I've already trialed it this week when I'm filming this video, and recording this audio. So it was kind of in retrospect, but it's been really working so far. So yes, I think that is the plan going forward. And then obviously I've got my positives log and my gratitudes log. They still are working really, really great for me. Writing one grateful thing every day has also worked really well. It's kind of stopped me from just loading all of my grateful things on the Sunday and being like, I haven't written anything, what am I grateful for? So that's been really great. And then at the end, I've just added some drop shadows because why not? If you can't tell, the blue was definitely my favorite color. I really liked this blue shade. I really hope that I can use it a lot more. Why am I hoping? I decide when I use my pens. I'm going to use that blue shade whenever I can. I just think it's so beautiful. I did like the purple shade as well. It's a shame it was a bit naff. And the pink and the orange are fine. I'm not really a pink person, and I'm not really an orange person either, but that blue is just gorge. Love it. So here is my final flip through of my bullet journal setup for July. I really liked how this turned out. I love the color schemes and the simplicity yet funness of it, and I'm really looking forward to playing with this more throughout the month. And it's great to be back. So that was my bullet journal setup for July. I really like how it turned out. I love the pastel colours that I chose. I'm so glad that I bought those highlighters, even though, yeah, they are a little bit cheap. I think if I continue to use pastels in my bullet journal as an option, definitely will get some better quality highlighters. Sorry, Wilcos. But I really like how this turned out and it was really fun. So I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Would love to have you on the channel. Come on down, buy me a coffee if you'd like. Stay tuned for more theatre content from a UK perspective, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye friends!